Thank you. Right, I'm going to have a quick look. We just talked earlier about global capital and how it's influencing our political system, and how that is going right the way down to where the shovels hit the ground at a local level. And I'm going to introduce you now to an organisation called Key Cities, who are key protagonists in that part of the agenda. Let's hear about Key Cities.
Key Cities is a really important and influential network for urban areas in the UK.
We came together 10 years ago, and I think we've gradually crept onto the government's agenda.
We've grown in scale and size, and we've got a really important lobbying role in terms of our relationship with government.
We're collaborative. I mean, that's the main thing. I mean, in local government anyway,
in terms of the work that we do together to educate and inform and share good practice across local government in the whole of the UK.
There's 28 of us in the gang, and we've got common cause, common agendas, common problems. And obviously what's really exciting about local government is that we have individual solutions.
The network's got a really important role to play in the discussion on devolution. And what we can actually do is help inform government policy going forward.
We can be trusted to deliver, we can be trusted to innovate, we can be trusted to make a difference.
Key Cities has grown. Peter Box, my predecessor, did an awful lot of work in terms of bringing new councils into the area. And I'd like to see that continue and develop as we go along, because there are a lot of urban areas who are not members yet of the actual network. I'm sure would benefit from being part of it.
Incredible film clip, Ben. I did have the advantage of seeing that before the news. So just incredible to see those people. And you correct me here, Ben. My take on it is some of them are innocents. They are lambs to the slaughter, but others know exactly what they're doing. And I'm very interested to see Plymouth Labour leader Tudor Evans speaking there, because of course many years ago Common Purpose, the political charity, absolutely at work in Plymouth, essentially reframing people, and he uses the expression in this video, common cause. He also talks about a gang of people who are going to presumably tell people on the street what they should be doing. But these people have no idea that every time they're involved with some sort of training or collaborative scheme at government level, they are themselves coming under this applied behavioural psychology. So I found that one of the most frightening video clips that I think we've shown on the news for some time, because those people, the bulk of them, had no idea what they're involved in and what the government is trying to get in as its wider political agenda.
Exactly. And this is a crucial national network where, to use the phrase again, the shovels meet the ground, right? You get local communities, local cities out in the counties, implementing the innovation agenda ultimately, right? So we can see here that there are 24 cities in this network. They've been around for 10 years, not a new thing, right? But it's come to my attention recently. And you can see at the bottom there, it's all about delivering innovative solutions for the challenges that we face. Innovation, generally going to be around energy systems, food systems, implementing the kind of technologies that we've been talking about earlier from organisations like Systemic and Quadrature Capital, right? So we've mentioned Tudor Evans, leader of Plymouth Council, clearly a central figure in this. They've actually just issued this report on the waterfront, which talks about the importance of the port cities in transforming the UK. And you can see the lighthouse on the cover there, same as you can see over Brian's shoulder today on the news.
Ben, we can see the ego is what we can see in that taking a selfie of himself in front of cities in Parliament. Ego, power and ego demonstrated on the camera.
Yeah, 100%. And net zero figures very high on their agenda, obviously, as you can see, local partnerships to drive net zero innovation. I don't know if these people have been on an apolitical reframing course, but they're certainly the target for it, right? So this is where what apolitical are doing meets the local cities, who's running it. I won't go into all the detail, but you can see one of them as an old face there. Who's that? That's Charles Clarke, former Home Secretary under Blair, who actually tendered his resignation in 2006 after it emerged that 1,000 foreign prisoners, including people who'd been convicted for manslaughter and committing sex offences against children, had been released without being considered for deportation. And Blair refused to accept his resignation. That's not a resigning issue. And he's now doing this. And then importantly, Lord Raj Loomba, CBE, who is the chair, as I understand it. Actually, no, he's not. Chris White's the chair, but I think Loomba has been at some point in the future. And this guy's fascinating. This is a Blair-era appointee to the Lords, made his money in the rag trade. And importantly, he's got something running in the background called the Loomba Foundation. When we go to the Loomba Foundation, what do we see on the front page? Oh my goodness, look, it's Tony Blair hovering in the background, the hidden hand himself. And who else is on the board here as well? And we can't go into all the detail on this, but I think this is just to give you a little bit of a taster of who sits behind the transformation agenda running across the country. It's people like Blair, and it's also all of these people. So Cherie Blair, who's actually the president of this charity, but also David Cameron and Nick Clegg, so the Condemn Coalition, Baroness Jay, who is the daughter of James Callaghan, former leader of the House of Lords, Laura Bush. What's she doing here? You know, Paul Kagame, who's the president of Rwanda. Big connections to Rwanda. Like, I've got to understand that a bit better. He's basically a dictator, right? Yoko Ono, Richard Branson, he gets about Joanna Lumley, and then Countess Mountbatten, who is very close to the late Prince Philip. I think she's put it like that. Yeah. So you've got UK, international, political class, billionaires, members of the royal family hovering around the common purpose linked networks seeking to radically reshape and transform British society.
The people really driving the political agenda. And just before we finish on this segment, I'll say that many years ago, when Prime Minister Tony Blair came to Plymouth in order to see the City Council's city development plans, the regeneration supposedly of the city, it was pointed out that people in various parts of the city were against the plans. And Tony Blair was stated in the meeting that the council had been given special powers and they should use them. And the strong inference was to squash any dissent to the central government political policy coming in. A lot more to talk on this, Ben, but thank you very much for taking us through that.
And one final key point on it, though, which actually leads quite neatly into what Diane's going to cover next, which is that this is also very heavily linked into the university system. So all of these cities around the UK, you've got political leadership, but then also academic leadership as well. And as we know, the universities are in a real mess.